Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about the extension What's Up Doc. This is a VS Code extension powered by OpenAI. The reason we developed this extension is to streamline the collaboration between different teams. Different teams in a major company collaborate using APIs. An important aspect of these APIs or reusable methods is the documentation. The root of all the confusion stems when the documentation of these APIs are not updated. Today, with the help of this extension, What's Up Doc, we want to reduce the barrier and reduce the friction to keep the documentation updated. Okay, now let's take a look at few of the examples. Over here in the example folder, I have few sample pieces of code in Java, JavaScript, PHP, Python and TypeScript. We'll try to generate code comments or doc strings for each of them. Let's try for Java. Okay, it returns a boolean indicating whether the specified URL uses a secure protocol, which is HTTPS. And that is what the return type also specifies. So in this case, it actually looks good. It is actually summarizing the method. Now let's take a look at JavaScript. Over here, let's see what our extension has to say about this method. It says it calculates the hypotenuse of a right angled triangle and it takes in two sides and returns the length of the hypotenuse. And that is exactly what this method is doing. It is giving us the square root of the square of two sides. Now let's look into PHP. This is, rather than being a logical method, this is more about establishing a database connection. Let's understand how does our extension work on this. So over here, it actually understood that this is a method for creating an active database connection. It highlighted all the input parameters and the return type. Now let's try to take a look at Python. Python is a little different as the comments are actually generated or need to be generated inside the method itself, because that is the standard way that Python identifies comments. So the method or the extension has to understand what the language is and then correspondingly generate the correct comments at the correct position. Over here, it finds out the nth digit of pi where n is passed as parameter, and that is exactly what this method is doing. It is returning the nth digit where n is passed as the parameter, and this is the nth digit of the value of pi. Now let's see what our extension has to say about this method, which is process message. We correctly get the information, which is this method reads the article and sends the data to Elasticsearch, and the message that this method receives is from a RabbitMQ queue, and that's exactly correct in this case. So this extension does understand what is the context around it and generates a comment from it. Now this extension was actually written itself in TypeScript. So rather than using an example, let's try to see if we can use the original extension code to generate some comments. This is interesting because we are using the extension to generate comments for the extension. Let's try and generate DocString for this selection. It correctly says that this method is responsible for getting the selected text on the screen. And that pretty much wraps up the entire demo. One thing I would like to highlight is this is an open source project, VS Code Auto Comment. Please send us pull requests or create issues and we'll get back to you and try to improve this project along with you. This is the extension What's Up Doc by the author or under the author name Arun K140. Thank you.